from what we understand, it was a very positive conversation.
Palestinians say so.
And you haven't heard the administration in DC saying, actually, they're misrepresenting the talk, it was terrible. So, presumably it was prepared for. In other words, there were, we understand. Again, this is all what people are saying, as opposed to direct information, that there were contacts running up to that conversation. We know that the head of the CIA was in Ramallah a few weeks ago. We understand that there were other contacts. When the elections took place, and soon afterwards the Palestinians were complaining that they were trying to reach out to Trump's people and nobody was speaking to them and so on, that seems to have changed in the last few weeks in the run-up to this phone call. So I don't think that they were conversing out of the blue. It was obviously clear to both sides, broadly speaking, what they would be talking about. And the Palestinian take on it is, extraordinarily upbeat. You've heard Abbas's spokesman, you've heard Jibril Rajoub praising Trump as a man who's genuinely seeking peace and a courageous person. So, I mean, things that you would not have expected to be coming out of Ramallah. And I wouldn't get too carried away about any of this, but on the Israeli side, unexpectedly, I think, on parts of the Israeli right, Trump has come out quite firmly against expanding settlements in his own name and other officials as well. He hasn't moved the embassy. He's been very supportive and gracious where Israel is concerned, but it's not the carte blanche for settlements that was anticipated. And he's invited Mahmoud Abbas to the White House. Mahmoud Abbas, who Netanyahu and members of his coalition have said, I can't work with this person. He's part of the incitement problem. He's part of the problem, not the solution. Well, Trump, evidently, that's unarguable. If he's invited him to the White House, he didn't invite him to the White House to say, I'm never going to speak to you again. He invites him to the White House as the representative of the Palestinians at a time when he's trying to move the process forward.
With the next step, I would imagine, being to try to get the two sides together for direct negotiations in an American presence.
Look, I think this is a very unpredictable presidency, and on this front as well, you can see that it's unpredictable. You would think that, given what has happened in the last few years of endless efforts to try to strong-arm the sides into some kind of a deal, you would think it would be unlikely that a new administration would go down that same road again, except maybe Trump and the people around him feel that they have some kind of approach that may be, by virtue of being less detailed, by virtue of saying, look, we're not going to start mapping out the West Bank and telling you where the border should run. We're going to try and get you into the room and you're going to have to hammer this out because we're getting impatient. Or I don't know what kind of leverage they may try to use, but perhaps some sort of less involved with the details and more looking at the big picture. They think they can make some progress. And one of the ways to make progress, of course, you have to get these people to talk to each other, which they haven't been doing for quite some time.